The Grammys, yes. So this obscure Grammys, there's a bunch of
Whammies.
guys. I'm old and I like metal music, so I don't know any of the people we're talking about here. There's a Billie Eilish, some kind of bunny involved. I think we'll eventually get to a very short man giving a speech, but ultimately it looks like a lot of these people who showed up to the awards ceremony were trying to virtue signal. Oh, Donald Trump! I can't believe ultimately that he was out there going after illegal aliens. We see Bad Bunny here saying, "Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say ice out." Bad Bunny said while accepting a Grammy Award for Best Musical Urbana album.
Musica Urbana.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Yeah,
What's it titled?
Please don't attempt to make me.
What's it titled?
Auron, what's it titled? I can't see that. Can you read it out for us?
I believe it's a click clack cloak. But yeah, no, it's a little
It's not
difficult
American. I
to
know
make
that much.
out. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of this. We kind of expected these events. No one cares about the music. No one cares about the speeches, the awards. No one can just say thanks God and I really love my country. It's got to be about hating the current thing. So I guess not surprising that this is the way they're conducting themselves. But let's hear Peter Dinklage here, amazing star of screen and stage, telling us about this beautiful poem he has written.
A poem by Amanda Gorman called for Renee Nicole Good, killed by ice on January 7th, 2026. They say she is no more, that there her absence roars, blood blown like a rose. Iced wheels flinched and froze. Now bare riot of candles, dark fury of flowers, pure howling of hymns. If for us she arose, somewhere in the pitched deep of our grief, crouches our power, the howl where we begin, straining upon the edge of the crooked crater of the worst of what we've been. Change is only possible, and all the greater, when the labor and bitter anger of our neighbors is moved by the love and better angels of our nature. What they call death and void, we know is breath and voice. In the end, gorgeously endures our enormity. You could believe departed to be the dawn, when the blank night has so long stood. But our bright, fled angels will never be fully gone, when they forever are so fiercely good.
It's like a little short temper from him. Jeez.
Yeah, look, guys, I know Peter Dinklage hasn't had to act. We all saw the last season of Game of Thrones in a while, but how did he not bother to even memorize like a couple lines in a poem? Like he's just sitting there reading off his phone like he's some high schooler giving a presentation in like an inner city school.
That was his big opportunity. I mean, this is probably the biggest platform he's had since Game of Thrones. Right now, us showing this video. So
he's attempting slam poetry, but it's like a light tap reading.
I'd still like to work with you, Pete. Hit me up, but could have been better.
As far as the Grammys go, I haven't been a fan of the Grammys. Like I've had problems with the Grammys since like 1989 when Metallica lost to Jethro Tull.
That's a mean flute.
Well, okay, we should minimize Peter here. I mean, this is a tiny part of a bigger story.
They've done nothing since to redeem themselves. They didn't talk about Vinnie Paul the year that he died in memoriam. They didn't talk about Ollie Herbert, our guitar player that died in memoriam. They didn't talk about Brett Hines in memoriam this year. The Grammys have always treated metal like, basically like the redheaded stepchild. Sorry, Tate. But like they've always been like that. And it's so for me as a guy, and you understand this, as a guy that's into metal and stuff, they've never been good. It's always just a contest of who has the best connections behind the scenes. Tom Morello's on the voting, what is it, the voting panel or whatever. So I don't have anything good to say about the Grammys. They've been terrible, like I said, for me since 1989 when they decided that Jethro Tull should win over Metallica.
I found these award ceremonies to be more political, like popularity contests. If they like you, it's like, oh, it's your year to win now, Ian. You've been so patient. You've said your lines and not talked out of turn for 30 years. Here's your Lifetime Achievement Award, and we'll give you an Oscar. But because of that, I'm not surprised when they go hive mind and start repeating all the garbage that you see on MSNBC. It doesn't surprise me.
They did have a like shockingly pro-white move it was like a decade ago, and I was like 2015, 2016. It was like for rap fans, like 5 of the greatest rap albums ever released came out that year. It was like Kendrick Lamar, some of these other artists, but Macklemore won Album of the Year. And if you know Macklemore, iconically white rapper. And so that was like kind of the last pro-white move, I think, from the Academy Awards.
Was that before or after his song about how great gay marriage is?
Yeah,
Right,
didn't he have a gay uncle
yeah.
who killed himself or something though? I think it was because of that.
Something like that. He's just from Seattle. That stuff happens a lot there. But since then, it's just been really a lot of slop.
What, gay marriage or suicide?
One leading to the other.
They're connected. It's redundant.
You know, I wrote a book called The Total State, and one of the big topics in that book is ultimately why we need to see politics just penetrate every cultural sphere. A lot of people are asking, the basic question, why do we need politics in my video games? Why does it have to be in my movies? Why does it have to be in my music? There used to be, there was always some injection. There was always one guy firing off his opinion in acceptance speech. But for the most part, they at least put on the air of, okay, no, this is an event about the music, about the topic we're discussing. But once you get to this kind of late stage of your culture where everything is a political battle, where the rift is just so large and the state needs more and more control over the population, what they're thinking, the only thing you can really do is just have that total.
Is something with Tourette's?
No, I mean, you're like right now we're on Rumble. It's showing Ian looking
back.
at his phone.
So they're saying we're back on Rumble. We're
back.
We're back on YouTube.
There we go.
Yeah.
Start YouTube running as well a second ago.
Yeah.
Dude, you guys missed Adam Johnson whipping it out.
Yeah, it was
on
kind of
stage.
crazy. There was a hog reveal, and you guys missed
Wait,
it.
Adam, what did you say? You said something cool.
Oh, I said I was born as crooked. I blame my father, whoever he is.
I'm sorry, you were born what?
What?
So what you were saying before the show locked up, or what I was saying is I agree with you about inserting politics into culture and all these things because you have to. The world is politicizing, but to do it subtly, because some artists are so hit you over the head with it. And it's like, if I don't wear my MAGA hat, you're not going to get it. And it's like, well, you can be subtle. I don't want people on the left to understand that I'm propagandizing them. I don't want people on the right to know that I'm propagandizing
So
them.
one of the things that allows art to be subtle is a shared cultural tapestry, right? And one of the problems, the reason that we're seeing everything become so obvious is we're losing that shared fabric that allows us to provide nuance. They have to make sure that they kind of state outright what they mean, because maybe you're a red stater and you don't know all the blue code, or maybe you're a blue stater and you don't know all the red code. Now, the conservatives have been bad at art for a while, but the fact that the left is getting obviously very bad at it very quickly is actually a win for us overall, because it means that the implicit left coding that allowed them to kind of subtly massage their messages into our culture no longer works. Now, I'm with you. I'd rather have my art convey shared cultural messages, but if the only shared cultural messages are like chopping kids, genitals off, then it's okay. You can.
Well, it comes down to
obvious.
Well, I mean, I've got some experience in this, writing stuff that's like subtly political, and if you write things that are subtle, people are going to understand them in their own way. Mm-hmm. I've gotten a lot of people that they tweet at me, or they'll post, and they're mad when they find out that the songs that they thought meant something because it was subtle, they thought that it meant one thing, come to find out that I don't hold those beliefs, or I didn't hold those beliefs, and they are upset. So yes, it is true. It is better when you can be subtle, but if you want to send a message, you do have to be fairly clear. And if you're not, for a lot of people, if you're not specifically overtly saying something, they're going to internalize it as something that they relate to. And honestly, that's kind of what you want. Listen, when you write a song, you want people to listen to the song, and you want them to think of it as their own, right? When you listen to music that you love, you think about, like, where did you hear the song first? Like, what were the circumstances in your life? There are songs that I love, and every time I hear them, when I haven't heard it for a long time, I remember what it smelled like when I was listening to that song for the first time a lot. And so those kind of memories are something that's attached to music, and you don't want to take that away from people. But at the same time, if people find out, or when people realize that you weren't saying what they thought you were saying, they get very upset and they feel like you've taken something from them, even though it was never something that was offered to them in the first place. So
I think it comes down to is this, the connotation of words, right? I mean, progressives will always progress their ideology, right? Conservatives supposed to conserve. What we usually do is actually concede, and it starts with connotations of vernacular, right? It's we don't like abortion. It's it's safe, rare, and legal, and conservatives say, well, that's fair. We don't want someone who was raped or incest to be forced to have a child, and then they move that word, right? It's no longer now it's women's health care, right? When initially it was just murder. That's where we all agreed as human beings. When you take away the life of something, that's what it is. We concede these words to the left, and eventually we no longer have common ground, because as they progress, they get further and further away from that common ground, that soft working of words of, wouldn't it be cool if X, Y, Z?
Well, and this is the nature of the conservative liberal dynamic, right? Conservatives the right really creates in that moment of founding the civilization. The right are the people who are going to cut civilization out of the wilderness. They're going to fight back the barbarians. They're the people who are going to establish the norms and the rules, the strong culture, the strong religion, the strong understanding. They are the ones that initially build. And then the left are the ones that start iterating. They start looking for different ways to combine. They look for different processes that they can manipulate. In some ways, this is ultimately positive. You need your institutions to grow and change over time, be able to overcome new problems. But they do that by unspooling the nature of the society that exists in the first place. The left is largely entropic, right? It is breaking down order constantly, and that's where it generates its energy. So whenever it runs out of things to deconstruct, to destroy, to break apart, that's when it peters out, and that's when the right tends to rush back in and reconstitute that order. But that is the cycle of not just civilization, but even things like art and culture.
So right now, as far as I can tell, the internet is allowing cultures around the world to obliterate the American conservative nature, conservative nature of the United States, because it's just getting hit from every angle by so many things, and then immigration. And so there's like a rapid iteration redux, it feels like, going on right now.
Yeah, so funny enough, Karl Marx used to say that he was pro-free trade. And the joke of why he was pro-free trade is he thought it brought down cultural barriers faster. And the faster you dissolved cultures and traditions, the faster you could get rid of nations and create the communist utopia, the global order. And in a way, what we're seeing with the internet is the vast increase democratization and velocity of exchanges of information in the way that we saw with capital previously. And so all these things that used to give you shared culture are now immediately dissolved by this constant churn of information and everything. And so I think what you're going to continue to see is this destruction of existing cultures, and it's the people who are ultimately able to control that process. And again, I think we had this conversation last time we were on here, but this is why China and others are working so hard and so quickly trying to control internet and information as radically as possible, because if they don't, ultimately they will dissolve too. Even these communist authoritarian structures will break down under the constant wave and increase of velocity of information. So I think we've gotten pretty far away from the Grammys, but the point being is I think that's why ultimately we're seeing the internet interact with kind of national identities, and why the left is continue to break down who they think we are, but in the same instance, they're breaking their own ideas and culture down just as quickly.
Yeah, in the grand irony, before we go to the next story, that the Grammys was the kind of the epicenter of cultural cohesion for a long time. Everybody getting together on Thursday night to watch the Grammys, and then the next day at work, you'd talk about what song won. I heard that on the radio last week, but now that very same institution that was supposed to kind of centralize us to remember something together is sporadic. It feels like I don't even know what song. I don't even know if I knew any song at the Grammys. I don't even know if I've heard it because I don't listen to the radio.
Spirit Box performance was great. I'll say that much.
I didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
Okay, well that might have been worth watching.
They're a heavy metal band. They're good. But I will say it's likely that the only reason that particular heavy metal band was performing is because they have a female singer.
That's correct. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.